Alright, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Peace and salutations unto the Akim, pushing this truth through the four corners of the earth in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom now more so than ever. To the scattered, the speckled Israelites who be scattered among the heathen, I say Shalom. And I say Shalom unto the few and faithful Akwat, the few sisters listening and learning. This is your brother Yerushalayim from the GMS Prophetic Vibrations Camp, coming out of Trinidad and Tobago, coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. This video will be entitled Wicked Children, Teach Your Children the Law and Enforce Discipline. And this is a response to the brother Hawad, right? The beloved member of our camp, and the brother Kahan, who also did a response on this video, on this video here, right? 2/3 Israelites, children are waxing worse and worse, right? Because previously I had done a video on the laws and teaching your children the laws, because that's essential, especially for us who in this truth, right? To distinguish, ourselves from the 2/3, right? We are the hopeful elect, through faith we believe that we'll be among that number. Alright. We have to do what it takes, alright, to be counted worthy of that number. And that includes teaching your children and enforcing discipline. Alright. In this video here, it's the little boy and the girl, basically abominations unto the Lord. And the Lord don't really care about you, how old you are, how young you are, the Lord is our God. Don't deal with that. You don't deal with the flesh. Right, you deal with the spirit, right? As the Lord say, man look at the outward appearance, but Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai look at the heart, which is your mind. It's talking about your spirit. So without further ado, I'll just say I'll do a video on this, take a different turn, slightly different take, and hopefully it's edifying through the spirit. Alright, now let's in fact, let me play this clip here first so you can get a look at this abomination, right? Then I'll hit that scripture. So you see, he went and pick up a cutlass, as we call in Trinidad, a tree line, right? And he proceeds to go and to planas, as we say, which means to lash with the broad part of the cutlass his own grandmother, right?
So you actually went for a blade. And he using obscene language, and in my time, I don't get two backhand slap and fall on the ground, and that same blade, they taking my grandmother, I take that same blade and plan and me to show you how the generation will bring forth. Even your grandparents freed them. Even
can because it's no respect, it's nothing, and this is the product of this degenerate place, of Israel becoming a degenerate plant. Alright, let me see if I want to find the portion, the part.
Your own grandparents free them because they call I'll just show you how equalistic from she will show you.
He woken up this grandmother now. Watch and see what happens. Wow, you see? He lashed his own grandmother. Alright? So now, let's hit some scriptures here. Alright? This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 6 and verse 7. It says, what? And thou shalt teach them diligently unto their children. What are you talking about? This is talking about the laws. Alright? Right? And shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And Jake, in this world, the Jakes that in the world, they can't teach their children because they don't even abide by themselves. Right? They don't even know the laws of the Lord. Some of them can't even remember the 10 Commandments. Alright? And that's what you're dealing with in this time. Deuteronomy. So okay, let me go back here. Deuteronomy chapter 11 and verse 19. Alright? Let me start from verse 18. The law again, right? Deuteronomy 11 and 18. Therefore shall ye lay up these words in your heart and in your soul, and bind them for a sign upon your hand. So we're supposed to have this thing right in us, which is why in the new covenant they'll be written in our mind, our heart. Alright, so we wouldn't forget. Alright? So and bind them for a sign upon your hand, that they may be as frontlets between your eyes, which means you'll always be watching it, you'll always be in your thoughts, and always be reminded of the laws. Right? Verse 19 say, and you shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou rise, which mean pretty much all the time, drilling into them, teaching them. Right? And as they say, as the brothers went down into it and said, it really and truly, you can blame the parents because they're not right, and most of them don't want to be right. Right? They believe in an Esau that his kingdom is going to continue forever, and they can always continue doing wickedly. Alright? So these parents and grandparents really have nothing to teach them. They destroyed for lack of knowledge. Alright? Israel has truly become a degenerate plant. This is Jeremiah chapter 2 and verse 21. It reads, actually let me read from verse 20, Jeremiah 2 and 20. For of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands, and thou saidest, I will not transgress. Israel said that. When upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest playing the harlot. And I was talking about these different religions, alright, these different ways of the heathens, okay, that we followed. It's nothing new under the sun. This has been happening for a long time with Jake. Alright? Verse 21 says, yet I planted thee a noble vine, right? A noble vine, which is what? A vine above the other vines, right? Holy, a right seed, right? And the seed, of course, that even into, us, it's a seed lineage, according to our children. That's why the Lord keep on telling us to impress it into our children, because we have an everlasting covenant from generation to generation. So how the next generation gonna learn these laws if not being taught by your parents and your grandparents? Alright? How then art thou turned into a degenerate plant and a strange vine unto me? Alright? Verse 22 says, for though thou wash thee with nitr and take thee much soap, yet thine iniquity is marked before me, saith Yahweh power. Because even though they fight with these religions thinking that they're right, they're off, right? Because you're supposed to obey the law, statutes, and commandments as they were delivered unto us by the Moses, right? And that's it. That's the state that Israel is in right now. It's a degenerate state, and you see our children, because the children are not being taught properly the law, right, which is supposed to be passed down from parent to child, from grandparent to child, through the generations. Right, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 78, and verse 1. It reads, O my people, to my law incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old. So you're supposed to learn this word from who? How are we going to learn the word? Amos 3 and 7 says, surely the Lord will do nothing but reveal his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. We learn this truth and the law, through the men of the Lord. Alright? Which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. So here you have it. Which we have heard, from the older generations, right? But this generations have nothing to teach us. Which is why in Isaiah 3 and 12 it say, those I believe it says that those who lead you cause you to err. Right? If I'm not mistaken, it says that, roughly paraphrasing. Right? and our fathers have told us. Right? So you're supposed to learn from your father. Which brings us to another point that the brothers went through, and that the father is absent from the home in Israelite homes in a lot of the cases. So you learn from a woman, who can't teach, who can't instill that level of discipline. A woman is too emotional to instill discipline. Alright? A man is made in the image of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and therefore a man, could act without emotion. Right? Disciplining the children as they need to be disciplined. Alright, and not based on emotion and saying, hey, don't lash my child, don't hit him, oh God, take it easy on him now. No. A man had to be strict and disciplined and instill discipline, as the brother went through in Sirach 30, right? If you spare the rod, you spoil the child, right? Verse 4 say, we will not hide from them, we not hide them, Salakia, from their children, showing to the generation to come the praises of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and his strength and his wondrous works that he had done. For he had established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children. So father's role is key. Mothers too. But the father has to be there to put in that input, to put that strength in there, that reinforcement. Right? Verse 6 says that the generation to come might know them. Right? So you see, to know the law. Even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children. Right? So children, the children which should be born, who arise and declare them to their children, is a generational thing. It's a cycle. Alright? So the cycle has been broken, by the captivities, by Esau, Edom, the heathens, the oppression that we went through. Alright? And it was all the Lord's doing. But in this time, it's coming back. So those who are among the hopeful elect are supposed to be teaching their children these laws. Alright? And rebuking them, reproofing them, and not sparing the rod. Alright? Verse 7 say that they might set their hope in the Most High, alright, and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. Alright? And that's how important it is. Right? Verse 8 say, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation. So you see, they might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation. Right? Which is how the generation is now. Don't want to hear this word. Right? They scoff at us. The men of the Lord, they scoff at us. They mock us. Alright? A generation that set their heart aright, and whose spirit was not steadfast, that set not their heart aright, Salakia, and whose spirit was not set fast with the Most High. So that's the state of our people, and the Lord said, hey, you better have no children if you have ungodly children. Alright, when you go to the book of I believe the brother went through this precept, if I'm not mistaken, Sirach chapter 16 and verse 1, it says, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. The ungodly, those who don't follow the ways of the Lord. Alright? The law. Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai be with them. And the fear of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is what? Wisdom. Alright? And how we get wisdom? By obeying the law. Alright? By obeying the law is how we get wisdom. I believe it's Deuteronomy 7. Alright, let me go to Deuteronomy 4. Yeah, Deuteronomy 4, right? And verse 5 says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as Yahweh my power commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep them therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom. You see, wisdom and your understanding. Right? So fear of the Lord bring wisdom and understanding, and that's related to what? The law, the statutes and the judgments, the commandments. Alright? Right? So Deuteronomy 4 and 6 again. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Alright? So you see there for yourself. Alright, so the fear of the Lord to be with them. Sirach 16 and verse 3 says, trust not thou in their life, neither respect their multitude, for one that is just is better than 1,000, and better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly. Just like the what we saw here in the brother's video here. Alright, ungodly lot, you know. It's better you don't have any children at all. Alright, and that goes for some people and some brothers, you know, who want their children, you know, but you know the Lord didn't provide them. Maybe it's for a reason why. Alright, everything is through the Spirit. You gotta watch this thing properly. You know, maybe you might have ungodly children, you know, and the Lord didn't want to grieve you, you know, because the lot of ungodly children is destruction. Alright, Sirach 16, ain't nothing new under the sun, you know, these just spirits coming back. Alright, Sirach 16 and verse 4. For by one that had understanding shall the city be replenished. Right? Remember when Jake went off in the desert, you know, after we had the exodus from Egypt, and the Lord said you put all them to death and you will bring back Israel from Moses alone. Alright? The Lord could do that. You know, so you can't boast and say you're Jake and that's okay. No. You know, and that's for those Jakes who know they're Israelites and not striving to do right by the Lord, not striving to teach your children the Lord, not striving to obey the Lord themselves. Alright? And therefore avoid sin. Alright? For by one that had understanding shall the city be replenished, but the kindred of the wicked shall speedily become desolate. Alright? And that's what's happening here. You know, that's the judgment that's waiting for all those who do that, you know. You know, so we was talking about women ruling over, you know, men. You know, Isaiah 3 and 12 go into that. Alright? Pretty much I'll put the link in the description box to the brothers' 2 videos. Alright? You know, because it's just wicked. These jakes just working off for the feminism, alright, that Esau set up in the society. You know, in fact, for edification, let me just pull back that scripture again in Isaiah 3 and verse 12. It say, as for my people, children are their oppressors, you know, and we seen that. These children have no behavior as we saw, you know. You know, they're wicked to the core. And women rule over them. Why? Because of Esau Edom, you know. O my people, those which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of their paths. Our leaders, our fathers, our mothers, you know, they causing us to go astray. Because why? They're following after the ways of Esau and the heathen. They indulging in adultery, promiscuity, you know, homosexual acts, all these things, you know, and teaching each other these things and laughing at them as if it's a joke. You know, but the Lord don't find it as a joke. The Lord is the King of terrors. Right? He's the King of terrors. The Lord don't care about the age of your child. Alright? In fact, the Lord don't look at the outward appearance, as I was saying earlier. The Lord look at the heart. And let's get that in 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7. It say, But Yahweh said unto Samuel, this is referring to David, because David had older brothers who looked more the part of a king. Alright? You know, there was Eliab and, you know, Abinadab and, you know, all of them the brothers of David, you know. But Samuel said, the Lord told Samuel, no, that's not him. 1 Samuel 16 and 7 say, but the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance. His countenance is what is flesh, it's outward appearance, nor on the height of his stature, you know, nor how tall you are, but because I have refused him. You know, why you refuse him? Because spirit, and the Lord look at the man's heart, the man's spirit. Alright? For Yahweh Bashem Yahushai seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh at the outward appearance, but Yahweh Bashem Yahushai looketh on the heart. So, same case here with these children. The Lord not looking at the outward appearance, because everything is spiritual. Alright? You know, so the Lord don't care about the flesh, only the spirit. You know? He don't care about the flesh. You know? Only the spirit the Lord concerned with. It says Romans 8 and verse 6. It says, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Right? Because the carnal mind is enmity with the Most High, for it is not subject to the law of the Most High. Right? It's not subject to the law of the Most High. Neither indeed can be. Right? So then they that are in the flesh cannot please the Most High. Alright? So you gotta be in the spirit. I don't understand that, hey, You know, it doesn't matter if these children, they're gonna be the judgment of the Lord is still gonna be upon them, and they're gonna be put to death. Alright? Same scripture the brother went through in I believe it's First Kings, and you know, where I believe it was Elisha basically called on the Lord to put the children to death, about 40 odd children to death. Alright? You know, and that was righteous judgment of the Lord, because they were wicked, they were mocking him. You know, and really when you understand this truth, you know, in terms of regeneration, you know, if you could believe it, right, we are all regenerated, we've been here before. You know, these children are just wicked Jake spirits coming back again. Okay? And we can get that in the scriptures. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 7. It says, then shall the dust return to the earth. So this flesh body going to return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the Most High who gave it. So the spirit is always go back to the Most High where it is judged, and then after you're sent back onto the earth as a baby, as a child, you know. But you don't remember your past, you know, because why? You don't remember your past is taken away, and we can prove that by going to the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8. It says, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare yourself to the search of thy fathers. And in that we are Jakes, you know, and we to us belong the covenant and the law. Alright, verse 9 says, for we are but of yesterday and know nothing. Why we know nothing? You know, because the Lord take away that memory of our past lives. Alright, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Right? This flesh they're talking about. You know, the flesh gonna return to the dust quickly. You know, but the spirit lives forever. Alright, this is Ecclesiastes 3 and verse 20. It says, all go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Right? Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward of the earth? Right? So the spirit of man goeth upward. Right? And the spirit of animals, of course, go back down, which means they just go back into another animal one time. They don't need to be judged. They're not judged. Alright, like how we judged. Alright, our spirit go before the Heavenly Father and his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, to be judged. Alright? So one more precept we're going to get in Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 9. It say, the thing that had been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So we've been here before. Alright, that wicked Jake boy, you know, we've been wicked before. You know, and he's gonna get his judgment. Alright? Is there anything whereof it might be said, see, this is new? It had been already of old time, which was before them. So you see what's going on there. This happened before. Alright? You know, if you're wicked, you're wicked, you know. And if you're righteous, you'll be righteous. If you're among the elect, you'll be of the elect. And if you're of the 2/3, you'll always be the 2/3. Ecclesiastes 1:11 say, there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. So there's no remembrance of former things. Alright? So just with that alone, you can see that, hey, you know, that that wicked Jake, the wicked Jakes on a whole, have been here before. They've done wickedly before. You know, I believe in Revelation 22 it say, let the wicked be wicked still, you know. So just proving it there. Right? It's a spirit, it's spiritual, and I think spiritual. Alright? You know, it's serious. You know, as I was talking about the men ruling over the children, you know, and the men having the part to play in the discipline of a child and the importance, you know. So pretty much it boils down to 2 steps to enforce discipline and the law on your children. You know, step 1 is what to teach the law. Alright? Teach them the basics of the scriptures, the importance, you know, normal commandments, Exodus 20 and 12 song, what honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long on the land which thou thy power giveth thee. So that little boy, his life is not going to be too long. Alright, because if he be even like that now, you know, he's going to be put to death shortly, right? Exodus 20 and 13, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. So these are the things you have to teach your children. Alright? You know, and then secondly, you know, after you teach them, you have to enforce it. Discipline, the rod. You know, Sirach 30. You know. Sirach 30, discipline and other means to take away stuff from them, you know. But I said, I'll basically say the rod and other means, but for sure you can't spare the rod. Alright? You can never spare the rod. In Sirach 30. Alright? Sirach 30, verse 1 say, he that loveth his son causeth him often to feel the rod, that he may have joy in him in the end. So you want to enforce that rod to make sure you're doing the right thing. You know, you must enforce that rod. Get them, as they say, get them licks, as we say in Trinidad. Proverbs 23 and 22 say, it say, hearken unto thy father that begat thee, and despise not thy mother when she is old. And this boy of clearly doing disrespecting his parents. Alright? He clearly disrespecting them. You know, in Sirach 3, when they go to Sirach 3, going down into it, verse 1, you know, it say, hear me your father with children, and do after that he may be safe. So that boy is not going to be safe. For the Lord had given the father honor over the children, and have confirmed the authority of the mother over the son. Right? And I'm going to hit the ones that's talking about disrespecting your mother, which is his grandmother. It's the same thing, right? Verse 4 say, and he that honoreth his mother is as one that layeth up treasure. Right? You know? He that honoreth, verse 6 say, he that honoreth his father shall have long life, and he that is obedient unto the Lord shall be a comfort to his mother. Alright, so you know that boy not obedient, so he definitely not a comfort to his grandmother. Alright? You know, honor thy, verse 8 say, honor thy father and mother, both in word and deed, that a blessing may come upon thee from them. So he not going to get a blessing. Right? For the blessing of the father establishes the houses of the children, but the curse of the mother rooted out his foundations. And that's what's going to happen to him. He had no foundations. Right? For the glory of a man is from the honor of his father, and a mother in dishonor is a reproach to the children. You know, so this is you have to fear the Lord and trust and obey. You know, when you fear the Lord, you're going to obey his commandments. And you by you not sparing the rod and chastening your child, you know, you making them fear the Lord too. Alright, you instilling that in them, and Lord, you know, just how the Hawad Kahan chastise us, we gotta chastise our children the same way. Alright, to make sure that they stay in the right way. You know, and the Lord only chastises those that you love. So in a way, if you love your children, you have to chastise them. You gotta make them feel that rod. You know? And I'm gonna go to Sirach 30. And Sirach 30, let me jump down a bit. Yeah, verse 3, he said, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friend he shall rejoice. Why you say grieve the enemy? You know? Because when we don't, if you teach the law, first of all, if you're teaching the law, you got to teach his son, teaching them the law. You know, that's what it's talking about. You have to teach them the law. Alright? And they grieve the enemy. Why? Because when we obey the law of Yahweh, we obey the covenant. And therefore the Lord is going to protect us, and we're not going to be vulnerable to our enemies. Alright? And you'll get that in the book of Judith, chapter 5. And verse 20, when Achior the Ammonite was saying this, you know, he say, but Judith 5 and 18, but when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles to about Israel, right? And were led captives into a land that was not theirs. So when we departed from the way what of the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And departed into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies. But now they are returned to the Most High, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. So that's the reason why, you know, that's why it's so important to teach your children the law and make sure they're right, so they wouldn't be overcome, they wouldn't be vulnerable to our enemies. Alright? Verse 21 say, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be with them. For we become a reproach before all the world. You know? So, hey, these heathens know And this is why Israel, is going to be overcome in this time. 2/3 going to be overcome. Because why? They didn't put their power and their strength in the Lord. They didn't obey His laws, statutes, and commandments. Alright? It's pretty much straightforward. Ezekiel 39 and verse 23. It say what? And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me, Slakia. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. And this is Jake fallen by the baby sword right now. The baby sword that delivering that so-called cure. Alright? They've fallen by the sword of the enemies right now, right as we speak. Right? According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. So Lord hid His face from them. So Lord what? Lord delivering them up to destruction. That's the reason why two-thirds Jakes got to go. They're going to die. Including women and children. Alright? Ezekiel 9 and verse 4. It says, And the Lord Yahweh said unto them, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in the midst thereof. And as this truth, as the men of the Lord and the elect crying out, to the Lord, and being crowned with this mark, of truth, this truth, this word. Alright? And to the others he said in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city, and smite, let not your eyes spare, neither have pity. Slay utterly old and young. So old and young, right? We know the Lord don't care about old and young. He's just dealing with the spirit. Both maids and little children, and women. But again come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began at the ancient men which before the house. And the ancient men before the house dealing with the older men, but in the spirits as well too. Spiritually you have to look at things. Alright? And that's why in 1 Peter 4 and 17 he said what? In fact, before I go there, let's go to 2nd Esdras 8 and verse 56. Right, he said, 2nd Esdras 8 and 56, For when they were taken liberty, they despised the Most High. Right? Because this is why this happened to them. They hated the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and thought scorn of His law. Right? So in other words, they chose iniquity. Right? And that's why it's so important to teach this law to your children, and forsook His ways. Right? Moreover, they have trodden down His righteousness. Yeah, they trodden us down, the ones who teaching it. Right? And said in their heart that there is no power, yea, and that knowing they must die. This is why they must die. This is why the Lord gonna smite them, as we see in Ezekiel 9 and the 6th verse of thereabouts. Alright? This is why they're going to die. And there's nothing, you could do about it. 1 Peter 4 and 17. It say, for the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Lord. House of the Lord talking about Israel. And if it first begin with us, what shall be the end of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? So they're not obeying the gospel of the Most High. Verse 18 say, And if the righteous scarcely be saved, what shall the ungodly and the sin? Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? They're gonna appear. They're gonna be killed. They're gonna be taken out by the ICBM nuclear missiles, by the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Talk about in Revelation 14 and verse 9. Right? And that's why we had to be more circumspect in this time. And stamp out this in Israel. Stamp out, rebelliousness in our families, who we know, who in this truth. And that's the importance of exhortation and rebuke. Alright? So with that, I pray that this lesson has been edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa, Abad, Babal, Shalom.